In January, a government pediatrician was sentenced to more than 18 years in prison on several counts of sexually abusing Native American boys in his care. The doctor had been employed by the Indian Health Service, a federal agency that oversees health care and runs hospitals on Native American reservations across the country. An investigation by the Wall Street Journal and Frontline has uncovered that for decades, the agency ignored repeated warnings about the doctor's behavior and even transferred him from reservation to reservation, despite allegations against him. The revelations are the subject of Predator on the Reservation, a new Frontline documentary premiering this week on PBS in collaboration with the Wall Street Journal. Here's a preview.
Allegations swirled around this reservation doctor for years.
When I went downstairs is when I was floored because of what I saw there. A lot of items that boys would play with.
Frontline on the Wall Street Journal investigate the government's failure to stop decades of abuse.
Why protect a pedophile? If they knew about it, why did they protect him?
Despite the warnings.
What kind of cover-up is this? This involves a lot of people in a lot of high places.
Watch online or on air starting February 12th.
And joining us now is Christopher Weaver, one of the Wall Street Journal reporters featured in the documentary. Christopher, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
So first, let's start off with just how you were able to uncover this story, because this seems like something that we're talking about, a community I think most Americans don't even really give that much thought to, and a healthcare problem that nobody even knew existed.
So it started off a couple years ago with a colleague. We were writing about some Indian hospitals run by the U.S. government out in this part of the country, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Montana, where hospitals that the government itself was running were falling short of the government's own requirements for what hospitals have to be able to do. And that meant missing diagnoses, having patients die for really no good reason, and they were failing these regulatory inspections. And in the course of looking into it, we realized that they had a lot of structural issues and not sort of a one-time standoff with regulators. And one of the problems they were facing is it was hard to get doctors to come work there. As a consequence, they were hiring some doctors who brought some baggage with them to the job.
And of course, that led you to the specific doctor, Dr. Stanley Patrick Weber.
Yeah, in the course of this reporting, we started hearing rumors about a pediatrician at the Pine Ridge Indian Hospital. This is in a really remote southwestern corner of South Dakota. And the word on the street was that this doctor was molesting his patients and had been for some time. So when he was indicted on 10 counts of sexual assault of Native American boys in February of 2017, we thought, this could be a big story, and we really need to find out, basically, did they know? Did the U.S. government, or at least its local representatives, know that they had a problem with this guy?
And of course, that seems to be the crux of the whole documentary that we see, is exactly who knew what, who did or did not say anything, and when. And so, without, again, giving the whole thing away, but tell us some of what you were able to uncover.
Yeah, basically we found that for at least 21 years, there were pretty serious warning signs coming to the attention of U.S. government officials in Montana and then in South Dakota. And it got to the point at a hospital where this guy worked on the Blackfeet Reservation in the far north of Montana that regional IHS officials, Indian Health Service officials there, were so convinced that he was a pedophile that they ordered his boss at this particular hospital in Browning, Montana, to do whatever it took to get rid of him. But instead of firing the doctor or starting an investigation, what they did is they transferred him to another facility run by the same federal agency in South Dakota.
Unfortunately, this rings very familiar to stories that we've seen, of course, covered by the Catholic Church. But I do want to turn a little bit to the victims, because you were able to contact some of his victims and get a sense of what the long-term impact has been on them.
Yeah, we've been in touch with a number of his known and alleged victims. We were not able to get on video some of the people that we talked to, and the reason is that many of the people that that say he molested them as boys are in prison now or jail, and a number have sort of cycled in and out of incarceration even during the time that we've been reporting the story. And beyond that, many have struggled with substance abuse and drugs and alcohol, poverty, depression, and I think the fact that the guy has been indicted and now convicted in Montana has sort of forced some of these boys to look in the face, what happened to them and what the consequences over the course of their lives have been.
Well, what do you think is this story a canary in a coal mine, or is it an isolated incident? Like, do you expect to see more incidents like this come to the surface?
I mean, just in our reporting, we found many examples of doctors who had, all kinds of problems in their past, including, clinical issues, in some cases criminal convictions, sanctions by, state licensing agencies. The Indian Health Service has a lot of problems. They have a lot of employees who have sort of troubling backgrounds, and they face all kinds of structural issues, like just basic things like how much money they get from Congress to run these services. What the answer is, I think, is sort of a lot less clear because the people who are trying to fix it are really in a difficult place, and their options are few.
All right, well, Chris, thank you again for your reporting.
Hey, thanks for having me.